Hi, um, I'm Caden, also known as Caden22 on the internet. Um, I don't really post on here very much. I'm gonna change that. Usually, I've been posting on Twitch and a little bit of YouTube now, but um, I wanted to share with you all my work in progress for the book that I'm writing. It's very D&D inspired, very D&D heavy. So if that's not what you guys really want to listen to, that's completely fine, completely understandable. This also might be a little bit of a long video. Just warning you, I'm gonna read you guys the first two scenes of my book. I finally went back and re-edited them. So, without any further ado, everything's a work in progress. So don't judge me too harshly, but any feedback would be awesome. So, um, Book 1, The Ballad of the Wayborn, the first ensemble. Act 1, The First Notes. Chapter 1, The Lost and Wandering, a Prelude. Stay right there, buddy. I'll be right back. Aronel stood over a clumsily stacked pile of scrap metal, trying to cover his best and only friend, Unit 7. His mining automaton companion was stiff, which was good, but his long legs were still sticking out of the pile. Should be good enough for the 5 minutes that I'll be gone, he muttered to himself. Unit 7, please, stay quiet, please. The half-wood elf took a step back to check his work and turned on his heel to continue through the alley toward a market. After being in Vaelrun for nearly 8 years, he had a good understanding of which markets would allow a half-elf to conduct business in, or at least tolerate him long enough to buy food for himself or parts for his artificer master. Former master. Aronel shook his head at the very recent memory of that night. Pushing that thought away, he tried to brush off his suit-covered work overalls as best as he could. Can't do anything about that grease. He tousled up his wavy brown hair in an attempt at hiding his slightly pointy ears, which marked him as a half-blood. Gods, he hated that term. It wasn't enough for everyone to point out that he wasn't originally from Vaelrun, or Merchants Republic of Calvar for that matter, but they had to pick him apart completely to insult him. Looking the best that he could, Aronel finally stepped out of the alley and into the bustling streets of Vaelrun. Even after 8 years in this city, he was still astounded by the sheer size of everything. Above the stone walkways were railways for the city's new steam-powered train system. Looking up above those, he could see the brass-bolted buildings reach high into the sky, where cloud-like walkways between the tallest buildings bolted out even more, or blotted out even more of the sun. Back on the ground, the artificial light of the city's clockwork lanterns ensured commerce and trade could still function at any hour of the day, rain or shine. Around him, Aronel glanced at the base of the buildings lining the streets. Many of them hung banners promoting different guilds and artisan teachings. Not that they let me into any of them. Rounding another corner, a now familiar sight to Aronel, a group of glaring guild apprentices talking amongst themselves. He could feel their eyes before he risked glancing up. They knew. How did they always know? He sagged his shoulders at the thought. As their paths got closer to each other, Aronel prepared himself for what was coming. Half-blood. Nice ears, ill-blood. Heard he got pretty far for a half-wit. What happened? Broke your master's tools? The last one stung a recent wound in his heart. His apprenticeship fell through only 3 days ago. He swallowed the insults in his own tears. He needed food. He needed more tools for Unit 7. Most importantly, I need to feel not so alone in this city. That wasn't a new thought. That one was with him for the 8 years he's been there, since the moment he got off that carriage. Up above, Aronel heard a flux of different voices. His heart lifted a little. He could endure a few more insults, but he did need food. He felt around for his coin purse and jingled it lightly, though there was very little in that bundle to jingle around. Ahead of him was half a city block out in the open, though it wasn't empty. Far from it. Filling the entire space was booth after booth, stalls and stalls, trying to sell anyone who walks by their merchandise. Between the stalls were also filled, people stopping to inspect items they were about to purchase, others contemplating which stalls were going to take their hard-earned coin. Over in the nearby corner, Aronel noticed two groups arguing, the Steamwrights and Glyph Weavers. Usually their spats were no more than loudly talking at each other, though Aronel had noticed some telltale signs of actual fights between the two groups that the city guard couldn't clean up fast enough. The Glyph Weavers were shouting about how the abominations that the city were creating were going to take people's jobs, and the Steamwrights were telling them off and about being stuck in their ways. Aronel tried his best to avoid both groups. Walking amongst a group of shoppers, Aronel disappeared from the altercation in the corner. He had other issues to address. Finding the closest food vendor that didn't say anything about purebloods only had been an issue in the past, but Aronel could now pick them out easily. As he stood in line, he glanced around the market, taking in the scene. During his sweep of the market, something caught his eye. Rather, their eyes caught his. Staring through him with intense eyes was a pale elf with jet black hair, a Shadar Kai. Aronel shifted his weight as he looked away and back toward the line. He was now third in line. Somehow he still felt that glare on him, but as he looked back to where the pale elf was, there was only emptiness. A shiver ran up Aronel's spine as he turned his attention back to the task at hand. The line shifted again. Now it was time for Aronel to look at the menu quickly. He didn't need to give the food vendor another reason to hate him. Bread, maybe some fruit or some meat. The line shifted again, and now Aronel stepped up to the elf running the stall. "What do you want, half-elf?" He had practically spat that out at him. Aronel tightened his shoulders and put his head down. A half loaf of bread, please, and any fruit or meat that this can buy me." He opened up his coin purse and pulled out the remaining money, 3 silver pieces and 6 copper. The stall owner greedily took the coins, inspected them, then put them in a drawer under the counter. "Here, take this and get out of my line." He placed the half loaf of wheat bread and 2 apples. The apples looked mostly fresh, and the bread didn't have any mold on the crust, so it looked good enough to eat. Aronel took his food and swiftly left the line. He pocketed his meal and began thinking about what to do next. I could wait until dark to go back and see if there's any scrap the vendors are throwing out. Yeah, that sounds good. Well, not good, but good for me. Following the same path he had taken a few minutes ago, he left the market. He felt the same eyes on him again. Before exiting the market, he took a quick glance around. He thought he had seen that same pale elf slip between the people, then disappear from his sight, almost like a ghost. Maybe the rumors of the ghost girl are real. I gotta get back to Unit 7 quick. He turned back to where he was heading and scooted through the crowds in the street, hoping to avoid more apprentices and judging eyes. That's the first scene of my book. Stay tuned for the second scene. Thank you for watching.